Welcome back to the deep dive. I want to start today with a little bit of a confession. We all like to think we're rational, especially with huge decisions like buying a home.
We certainly try to be.
But there's this one little number on a real estate listing that just seems to, I don't know, bypass all the logic centers in my brain.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The days on market count.
I am, yeah. I was scrolling through listings last night, just for research. And I caught myself doing it. I'd see a great house, nice photos, right neighborhood, and then my eyes would just drift down. 90 days on market.
And everything changes.
Instantly, the story in my head goes from, oh, this is promising, to, okay, what's catastrophically wrong here that I'm missing?
It's that damaged goods idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
We think if hundreds of other buyers have passed on it for 3 months, well, they must know something we don't.
Exactly. Like there's a crack in the foundation or it's right next to a secret highway. And normally, following the herd is a pretty good survival instinct. But we've got this analysis from Keeping Current Matters that basically argues that this specific instinct, this fear of the, quote, stale listing, is actually a huge mistake in today's market.
It's a massive market inefficiency. And, smart buyers, they thrive on those inefficiencies.
Yeah.
The data is really telling us that our psychology just hasn't caught up with the reality of the market. Our definition of stale is completely out of date.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. We need to recalibrate. We're going to look at why days on market has gone up, figure out if these houses are traps or opportunities, and I think most importantly, how you can use that number as leverage.
Exactly. We have to look at the hard data because that feeling that a house has been sitting too long, it's usually based on a totally warped baseline from a few years ago.
Okay, let's start right there with the baseline. Because 90 days or even, 70 days, it just feels like an eternity for a product to be on the market.
It does. But that's only because we're all still suffering from a psychological hangover from the, let's call them the unicorn years of the market.
The
The frenzy. Yeah. If you look at, say, 2021, the median days on market was absurd, like 15 or 20 days. In some places, it was hours.
I remember that. You'd see a house Saturday morning and they'd say, all offers due by 5 p.m. today.
And that speed, it conditioned all of us to think that speed equals quality. If a house didn't sell in one weekend, something had to be wrong with it. It became a pariah.
Okay, so if that was the weird time, what does a normal market look like? What's the real number now?
Well, according to the latest data from our source, the typical time it takes for a home to go under contract has climbed to 73 days.
73.
73 days.
Wow. That's almost 2.5 months. That feels like a really long time.
It feels long compared to the frenzy, but in a healthy, balanced market, it's pretty normal. It means buyers actually have time to do a second visit, arrange their financing, to think. That crazy pace we saw was actually forcing people to make bad decisions, like waiving inspections.
Right.
73 days is a return to a pace where you can actually do your due diligence.
Okay, I can get on board with the baseline shift, but I still have to push back a little? I mean, even if 73 is the average, some houses are still selling in a week.
They are.
And some are sitting for 120 days. So the market is clearly still picking favorites. Why should I, as a buyer, look at the ones nobody else seems to want? Isn't there still a quality issue there?
There's a correlation for sure, but it's not always with the quality of the house itself. This is where you have to separate house problems from what are really marketing problems.
Okay.
And the source data shows a huge number of these lingering homes are sitting because of tactical errors, not structural defects.
So break that down for me. If the foundation isn't cracked and the roof isn't caving in, why hasn't anyone bought it?
Okay, so the first big reason is just simple inventory dynamics. I call it choice fatigue for buyers.
Meaning there are just more options now.
Exactly. Buyers finally have the luxury of being picky again. A few years ago, inventory was so low, you just bought whatever you could get, even if it had, but a bizarre purple bathroom.
Yeah, you just figured you'd deal with it later.
Right. Now, with more homes on the market, a buyer sees a weird bathroom, and they just swipe to the next listing. They don't have to compromise. So a perfectly good house might sit just because of a cosmetic issue that would have been ignored 3 years ago.
So the bar for what's considered move-in ready is just higher.
It's much higher. But the biggest culprit, and this is really about seller psychology, is the pricing strategy.
They're still thinking it's 2021.
They're chasing the market down. They list it way too high at the beginning. And those first 2 weeks on the market are absolutely critical for getting attention online. When no offers come in, they eventually do a price drop. But by then, the damage is done. The new tag is gone from the listing. It's already marked as stale.
And that's where the search algorithms start to punish them, isn't it? I feel like people don't talk about that enough. When I'm on a real estate site, the default sort is always newest listings.
Everyone does that.
Hmm.
It's a death spiral. If you're priced wrong for the first 30 days, you fall off that first page of search results.
Yeah.
You effectively become invisible. So now you have a good house that's finally priced correctly, but nobody's even seeing it.
It's a victim of digital sorting.
It's not a bad house. It has bad data.
Yeah.
Then you get the visuals factor. And I don't just mean, photos that are a bit dark.
What do you mean?
I mean photos that aren't optimized for how we look at things in 2026 on our phones.
Ah, vertical scrolling.
Yes. You see these wide-angle photos that look okay on a big desktop screen, but on a phone, they look tiny and distorted. Or just, frankly, lazy photos. The toilet seat is up. You can see the agent's reflection in a mirror.
It seems so minor, but you're saying in a market with choices, seeing the toilet seat up is enough to make someone just swipe left.
In a market with more inventory, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Buyers are actively looking for reasons to filter houses out. It makes their decision easier. A bad photo is a really easy excuse to just disqualify a property and move on.
So a house sits for 80 days, not because the plumbing is bad, but because the photo of the bathroom was bad.
It happens all the time. And then you have the competition, the flashy neighbor problem.
Okay, what's that?
It's new construction. Builders are being really aggressive right now, offering things like interest rate buy-downs and free upgrades. So if you're selling a 20-year-old house that needs a little work,
And a brand new one is for sale just down the street.
for maybe only 10% more,
Yeah.
the buyer is going to the new build almost every time. It just feels safer. It feels turnkey. That older house sits, the days on market ticks up,
Yeah.
and it starts to look even less appealing.
Okay, so to sum it up, a high days on market number is often just a symptom of bad initial pricing, lazy marketing, or shiny competition. It doesn't mean the house itself is a lemon.
That's the key takeaway.
But, and I feel like I have to be the skeptic for our listener.
Yeah.
You're still making a contrarian bet. You're saying, I see value where hundreds of other people didn't. That feels risky. How do I know I'm not the one who's wrong?
You mitigate that risk with one simple thing: due diligence. The source material is very clear on this. You're not buying the listing photos, you are buying the inspection report.
But inspections cost, what, $600? I don't want to spend that just to find out why a house has been sitting forever.
Think of it as the cost of getting a good deal. And consider the alternative. In a bidding war for a hot new listing, what's the first thing buyers are encouraged to give up?
The inspection contingency.
The inspection. That is real risk. Buying a stale listing means you absolutely get to have an inspection. In fact, it means you can be incredibly thorough with it.
So you're flipping the script. You use the time to your advantage.
You use the time and the leverage. This is where we stop seeing stale as a negative and start seeing it as a powerful negotiation tool. A seller who's been on the market for 85 days is in a totally different headspace than a seller who's been on for 5 days.
They're tired.
They are tired, they are stressed, they might be carrying 2 mortgages, they are motivated. And this is where you can get really creative. It's not just about offering a lower price.
Okay, tell me more about that, because my first thought is just to lowball them.
And a lowball offer can sometimes just offend a seller, especially if they've already dropped the price once or twice. But what smart buyers are doing is asking for seller concessions.
Like help with closing costs?
Even better, ask for an interest rate buy down, like a 2-1 buy down. You offer them a price that's pretty close to what they're asking,
Okay.
but you require them to give you a credit, say $15,000, to buy down your mortgage rate for the first few years, or even permanently.
Why is that better for the seller than just taking a lower price?
Because it keeps the official sales price high, which protects the property values, the comps, for the whole neighborhood. Their agent loves that. Their neighbors love that. But the credit to you solves your actual problem, which is the high monthly payment.
That is a really sharp distinction. You solve their problem, which is getting the sale done without tanking the neighborhood value, and they solve your problem, which is affordability.
And you can only have that conversation with the seller of a stale listing. Try asking for a $15,000 credit on a house that just hit the market yesterday. They'll laugh you out of the room.
So that stale status is really your ticket to the negotiating table.
It's pretty much the only place in this market where you, the buyer, actually have the upper hand.
But we still need a filter, right? We can't just go look at every house that's been sitting for 3 months. Some of them actually are money pits. How do we sort the marketing fails from the structural fails before we even get to an inspection?
Okay, this is the strategic execution part. And this is where a really good local agent earns every penny of their commission. It's about doing a forensic analysis of that listing's history.
So what should I be asking my agent to look for specifically?
First thing, has it been back on market? Did it go under contract before and then fall through? And if so, why?
Can you even find that out?
A good agent can. If it's back on the market because the previous buyer's loan fell apart, that's a green light for you. That's just a lucky break. But if it came back on the market right after the inspection period ended, that's a red flag. It suggests they found something and walked away.
And that's not something they're going to put in the public listing description.
Never. But your agent can call the listing agent and just ask, hey, what happened here? In most places, they have to disclose known material defects if they're asked directly.
So you're digging for the story behind the numbers.
Exactly. And you're also reading the seller's disclosures up front. Your agent should pull those before you even step foot in the house. Are they honest about a roof leak they fixed 5 years ago? Or is every box checked unknown?
Transparency is a good sign.
Transparency combined with time on the market is the sweet spot. If a seller discloses a minor issue, like say the basement gets a little damp in a heavy storm and that has scared off other buyers, that's an opportunity for you.
Because you can price in the cost of a French drain or whatever it needs.
Precisely. The unknown is what's terrifying. The known is just math.
I love that. The known is just math. It really takes the emotion out of it.
It should be boring. The excitement of a bidding war is where you overpay. The boredom of reading a disclosure on a 90-day-old listing is where you find value.
So let's tie this all together for someone who's listening right now, maybe scrolling on their phone. The strategy isn't to be a garbage collector. It's to be a value hunter.
Exactly. You are looking for the gap between the market's perception of the house and the reality of the house.
And the first practical step is to change how you search. Stop sorting by newest.
Flip the filter. Sort by oldest, or at least make a point to scroll all the way to the bottom. Pick 2 or 3 homes that have been on the market for over 60 days and have your agent pull their history. Then go see them.
And when you walk in the door, you're walking in with a totally different mindset. You're not there to win a competition. You're there to assess if a deal can be made.
And you are walking in knowing that in this specific case, the seller needs you more than you need them. And that is a powerful, powerful position to be in.
It's like you're creating a tiny buyer's market just for yourself inside of a much tougher, more balanced market.
That's the hidden value. While everyone else is fighting over the new, flashy stuff, you're operating in a parallel market where the price is actually negotiable and there's no competition.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought. Find a listing that's been sitting for over 70 days. Don't just look at the list price. Run the numbers. Calculate the monthly payment based on a price that's at, say, 5% lower, but with a big seller credit that buys your interest rate down.
You'll probably be shocked. That house that looked way too expensive on day 1 might actually be the most affordable option on day 75.
The market rewards the people who are willing to do the math that everyone else is too lazy to do.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for this deep dive. Remember that days on market counter is just data. It's not a verdict. Go find the opportunity. We'll see you next time.
See ya.